Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is a little caterpillar I made on the SENTRO with the googly eyes. There he is here. So you are going to need some pipe cleaners, googly eyes. You can buy these at the dollar store. Package of different colors and sizes. This is a little tiny pom-pom and this is a pom-pom. And then the rest is just going to be whatever color of yarn that you choose, and the SENTRO. A sewing needle and scissors, so let's get started. So to start, find your white needle and whatever color you're going to start with. I'm just going to start with this blue. We don't need waste yarn for any of this project, so you're starting instantly with your project color. So you're going to do a cast on. So in case you need a refresher, you're going to wrap around this white needle. You're going to go behind the next one and in front of the next one. So make sure this needle catches your yarn. You're going to go in behind this one and in front of the next one. Behind, in front, behind, in front, behind, in front. And you're going to keep doing this all the way around. Don't worry about that, your machine making that noise binding. It's just because you're going slow. That's the only reason it's doing that. So continue to cast on all the way around. And when you get back around, you should be behind this needle, the one before the white one. So put your yarn into that carriage. And I'm going to put mine on the tight tension, which is the one right closest to the machine. That's medium and that's loosey-goosey. I am going to do 50 rows for the head. But I'm going to reset my counter after this first row because as you can see it's putting it on every other hook and not every one. So now that I'm back around to my white needle, I'm going to reset my counter. I got to tip my table to show you. I'm going to reset my counter. And I'm going to do 50 rows. That's my 50. So you're going to need a long tail to take all this off. I use a hook like this. You can use, I just call this a hook. I use a needle like this with a hooked end on it. So we can just take off. Now please don't just spin this around because it's pretty dangerous to just spin it around. You got to do one at a time as you first start. So pull this way so that these don't pop off. But I only expose 2 when I first get started because I don't want to risk losing them. And then after you can pick up multiples, but when you first start doing this, I would just not try to go all gung-ho. Just because you're going to risk dropping stitches and that's not going to be good. So now I can start taking 2 at a time off or more than that. For now, set this aside. We're going to make all of our things first and then we'll go back to the craft table. So find, get your second color. So from here you need 4 more colors. So you need 5 colors altogether. if you're doing a short little guy like I did. So find your white pin again and reset your counter, and then cast on your next color. Once you're cast on, you can do 30 rows. I'm going to go around once and then reset my counter. And I'm going to do 30 rows. That's my 30. I'm going to go ahead and cast off. Put that at your craft table. Pick a new color. Cast on. All my things are going into the tight spot. And this one is going to be 24 rows. So again, I'm going to go around once, reset my counter. That's my 24. And once again, you're going to cast off. And again, put this at your craft table and get your next color. So again, cast on your next color. Go around once and then reset your counter. That's my 18 rows. So you can take this to your craft table and find your next color. So my suggestion for your last color is a baby fine color, because it's going to be so small. It's going to be really hard to do the sewing part of it. So make it thin yarn and cast on. You can do 12 rows. First do your first row, reset your counter. Cast off, and I'll meet you at the craft table. Alright, so here's all your colors. We're going to start with the face first, which is the biggest one, the one you did 50 rows. We'll start with that. So I have a needle, attached to one of these guys. There we go. So just make sure you remember what order you got your colors in. So this is going to be our face. So as far as the sewing goes and the cinching and everything, we're doing them all exactly the same way. So pull it closed. Now you can stretch your work out. Don't forget the most important part. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Stretch your work out. Move my eyes. Move my thread. Got all this crap in the way. So pull your middle closed. We're going to come across and we're going to make a knot. Once your cinch is secured, you can do a second cinch just to make it look better. You want this to look nice at least on one end, because the other end's not going to look so nice after we put the stuffing in it. And I don't mean this part, I mean the other cinch that we're going to do. We're doing a lot of cinches. So just go around the outside of what you just cinched to do a second cinch. And it just kind of flattens everything down and makes it look better. So then you can come across again, make another knot, and then go to your other side. So leave that string attached. Go to your other side and cinch him closed. So my grandsons are still quite small, so I decided to do this for their Easter basket. That's why it's so short, because they're still small. If you wanted a longer caterpillar, you just have to get more colors, and then don't go from 50 to 30, go maybe 50, 40, 30, 20, you know, and all the way down. So just change what's in between these guys and do your sizes. Anyway, so hopefully you have a pom-pom maker. If you don't, well, the little tiny nose pom-pom, I just did with my hand. And then the other pom-pom I did with my little maker, but it doesn't matter. My little tiny maker's upstairs, and I didn't feel like going to get it when I made it, so I just used my fingers. So we'll just, if you don't have one, we'll just do it with our hands. It's just more trimming, that's it. But on the plus side of that, if you use your hand instead of a pom-pom maker, you can actually trim more, which means your stuff will be fuzzy, which is why I chose to use my hand for the nose, because I wanted a fuzzy little nose. So once you've done your second cinch, you can make a knot. Now when you make this knot, pull back and forth a couple times and it tightens that right down. So once you've got your work all cinched up, you're going to grab them in the middle. You're going to put these two ends together, is what you're basically doing. So like you'd make a hat, right? Ish. You get what I'm saying? So go to your outside here. We need one side that's going to look good and one side that we don't really care about. Ish. I mean, it's not super duper important, but try to be nice about this. So I want this to be on the inside. So stick him through the hole and then line him up with this hole so you get it all even, Steven. So I just lined it up with the hole on the inside. And I'm going to pull that guy through. What is with this bunching of the yarn? Wow. My yarn has split for some reason. Anyway, so that's not going to be the nice side anymore, so we're going to have to do it the other way. I'm going to pull this back out. I need to have a nice side and a not so nice side, so now I got to put this end through because I need to have a good side, and I just screwed. Well, I didn't. I don't even know why my yarn split. Anyway, now you're going to, if you're having problems like me, stick one of them through one of the sides. Let's just say that. So once that's through, you're going to tie the two ends together, and I do about 3 knots. Nice and tight, but of course now my yarn is split. I don't want to really pull that tight, but hopefully you're not having the same problems. So nice and tight. Now I'm going to cut this off, but I'm going to leave a nubby just so my knots don't undo, and then this crap can all just go in the middle. We don't care what happens to that. Stuffing is going to go inside there, so it doesn't matter if you cut that off or not. Now this part that you just cut off, one end is going to get a slip knot, and the other end is going to get you know, on the needle. So starting from the inside of your work, but so make sure this is all exactly how you need it, that the center is in the center and this is all pulled up properly. So grab a couple of posts or a post on the inside of your work and pull that until you get to your slip knot. I want you to go through the slip knot and then pull to tighten all that, and tie a knot with these two ends, just so it doesn't try to wiggle itself loose. So now take that and come through to the other side. So now that's all on the inside, you're never going to see it. So now we're going to cinch this whole top. So you're going to go, starting in the next space, you're going to go in and out and in and out, and you're going to do it near the top of your work. That is super duper important, to be near the top of your work. Even if you're only grabbing 1 or 2 pieces of yarn, it's super duper important that this is just near the top, because you don't want a great big bunch when you pull the cinch closed. So you can do that all the way around. So I've come all the way around. I need to put stuffing in here. So push your stuffing out, dig a hole, and fill the hole. It's just an easier way to get it smooth and proper. It takes quite a bit of stuffing, so it all depends on you on how squishy you want this to be for your kids or your grandkids. I did my other one fairly squishy. For the most part, one of them is going to just probably put this in their mouth. So once you're satisfied with how much you've got in here, and you know how round it is and what it looks like and all that jazz, it takes quite a bit of filling, surprisingly, but you can decide how big you want the head and how big you don't. So I think that's probably fine for me. I'm gonna cinch. So you can move the stuffing around after, but you're gonna have to hold your cinch closed, and you're probably, if you didn't get close enough to the top, you're probably not gonna be able to, I didn't get close enough to the top. Well, I got as close as I could, and I still have a gap, but that's okay. We can close this gap by double cinching. So first make a knot, and then pull that as best you can. And then we're going to start cinching again, we're going to go all the way around the hole, the cinch hole, and we're going to do a double cinch. So just make sure you're going around the actual cinch hole. And cinch this a second time, and then once you're satisfied with your cinch, you can make another knot to secure it. So when you come around again to do a second cinch, it makes it look way, way, way better, regardless of whether you think you need to or not. So come down pretty deep and around and make a second knot. I'm going to double loop mine because I just want this knot to stay. I don't want it to undo. So now you can move the stuffing around at this point. Make it nice and round. Keep your tail. So before we move on and do the same thing with all of our other body parts, we're going to do the face so that the glue can dry. So I didn't use hot glue, but you can use hot glue if you want. I used this. These bottles are 5 fluid ounces. You can get like a case of 6 of them for like $16 or something like that. Actually, that might even be too much money. I don't even think it was that much money. So decide where you want your stuff, and then I always forget to close my lid, and then everything dries out. And then put your eyes on. Like I said, you can use any kind of glue. You can use fabric glue. So put your glue on. And put your eyes on. If you're using the same kind of glue I am, it's clear, so you can't really screw this up. You can put it on the back of the eye too. I put it on here, and then I just move the eye around and spread it, and then drag my eyes into position. That's all I do. So there's my eyes. So we can pull off any excess glue after that might be on the side, or you can wipe it now, I suppose. But don't worry about the clear glue is literally clear glue. So let's set that aside and make our little nose pom-pom after I get the glue off my fingers. So I'm gonna use you know what? I'm not going to use black. Let's use yellow. I don't know why. Just because I like, kids like color. Kids super duper like color, so let's use some color. So you're just going to take this and you're just going to, I'm using 3 fingers. You're just going to wrap it around a bit. Like I said, you make it bigger and then you cut it down, so make it all fluffy. So I can't tell you how many times I'm wrapping, because I have no idea how many times I'm wrapping till my fingers start to turn purple. So that's probably enough for me. So if that gives you any indication. So I need to cut off a strand of this too. So let's get that out of the way. So lay your strand down. Oh, I think I got glue on my table. So lay your strand down. You can take off what you just did. Lay it down, and you're going to tie a knot. A tight, tight double knot, as tight as you can make it. Just remember to keep your tails. So keep your tails, you're going to need those. Actually, you're not going to need them. You need them to hang on to so you can get all your loops cut. So find all your little loopies. You probably will not find them all in the first bunch, but cut all your loops. So once all your loopies are cut, now you're going to start to trim. So just keep in mind you're going small because it's just a little nose. The shorter you go, the fuzzier it's going to be. So every once in a while I'll just do this and pull up the big spots again so you can start trimming again. So that's my little nose. I could probably stand with some more trimming, but it's fuzzy. So cut your tails off. You don't really need to go too short with that. That's what you're gonna use. Oh, stuck my hand in more glue. So where you just cut your tails off here, put your glue, gob that right on there, and then put him right in the center. There we go. He's a funny looking fella. So let's finish with this glue business so that this all can dry while we're doing the rest of the body. So you're going to need some pipe cleaners. Now I've already cut mine. Put all my stuff away so I can find my, there it is. So I cut these to about 6 inches. I don't know if that's right or not. I am taking I don't want anything poking. So I decided I was going to take this and I was going to wrap it around. And if you have wee tiny babies, I would suggest putting electrical tape around there because it's pokey. So before we use glue, we need to figure out where we're putting this guy. To get him down, you just need to squeeze a little bit, just for tension. So once you find the spot that he's going to get stuck into, then you can put the glue in there. Or on, I just put it on my thing. And you don't need much because it really sticks to the stuffing. So because you've already made a hole, it slides in nice and easy. So there's one guy. So there, we've got our little head done. So we can set this guy aside and just let him dry and do his thing. In the meantime, the next size up, you can do the exact same thing you just did with the head. And you're going to do that for all your different sizes. So cinch that shut, secure it with a knot. Oh. I did not secure that with a knot very well. Secure that with a knot. And then you can do a double cinch if you want. This is optional. You don't have to. I prefer to make my stuff look cute, and you know, if I can make it look better than it would naturally look, then I'm going to do it. Just takes 2 seconds. So once I've double cinched, I'm going to make another knot. I did not put a mouth on this guy because I think it would have ruined the whole look of his face, honestly. So whatever side you think looks better, stick your needle up and through. 3 tight double knots. So cut your longest piece off, leaving a nubby. All this other crap can just be inside the thing. Take the piece you just cut off, make a slip knot on one end, thread the other end, so you're going to start inside this guy, and that's just because you're going to attach. So go through the slip knot you made, pull that tight, and make a knot with those 2 pieces. So it's going to be all on the inside. So I'll come around to the other side. And then you're going to cinch as close to the top as you can, in and out, all the way around. So once you've got it all sewn up for cinch, you can put some stuffing in there. This gets faster and faster the more you, the smaller you go with these things. So push it all out to the side, dig a hole, and then fill the hole. Once you think it's full, you can pull your cinch. The smaller they go, the bigger the hole is going to be. So come across to pull that shut, and then you're going to come across lengthways. You're going to pull that shut, and then you can do your double cinch. Not only will it make it look decent, it will hold it in place better. But only one side really, I mean, I shouldn't even say one side needs to look nice. You're not really going to see any of the sides, but except for the back, which is a pom-pom for that particular reason, is because it turns out looking like crap a little bit after your cinch. Anyway, make a great big knot. You can even put 2 in there if you want. So that's number 2. Keep your tail. This project is a cute way to use up all your little scrap balls that you have that you can't really do a whole lot with. You know, bigger projects. So It's nice to have these smaller projects. I have a crocheted caterpillar on my channel. One that's a lot bigger, but very, very similar. Except for I crocheted the eyes and stuff like that. And he's super cute, and everybody just absolutely loves him. So that's why I decided I was going to do a caterpillar with the SENTRO for people that don't necessarily crochet, that they can at least make a cute little caterpillar with their machine. I want to get a better look at my double cinch and watch some of my hat tutorials for the SENTRO. So flatten it down, take your end, go through to the other end. It's almost the size of the washcloths I did, actually. It's a little bit bigger. I'm going to cut some of my string. I think it's super duper long. Anyway, make your 3 double knots, or you know, the 3 double knots. So, slip knot on one end, thread the other end. Attach on the inside where this crap is. Through the slip knot. And cinch. So, once you come back around, stuff it. But with the double cinch, you still have the power to make it look nice-ish. And keep your tail. So, moving on. You can go ahead and do your last 2. And I will see you back when it's time to make the pom-pom, and then we'll sew everything together and voila! So, I got all my balls done. We just need to make a pom-pom. So you can use a pom-pom maker, or you can use your hand. For those that don't have pom-pom makers, I'll work with you with our hands. So take 4 of your fingers and you're gonna wrap. And you know what, doing it with your hand, doing it with a maker, you can always use a larger size maker and then trim it down until it gets fuzzy. But doing it with your hand, not only is it faster, but I don't know, just to me it looks better, and you don't really have to go to all the trouble when it's as easy peasy as using your hand. So I'm not counting how much I'm wrapping, I'm just wrapping. I don't know, I got about that much. Now cut yourself a piece. Pop this off. Oh, it's attached to my ring. Pop this off, layer down, tie some double knots, triple knots, whatever you want to do. But just make sure it's in the middle, decently in the middle, and make sure they're tight. So keep your ends, and then you're going to cut your loopies. So we're doing the exact same as we did the nose. Cut all your loops. Shake it out. And then we trim. So, just keep in mind, when you're trimming, it needs to be smaller than this. This process is not a fast process, the trimming part, but it is a lot better, a lot quicker than the process of using the bonbon maker. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with mine. It's nice and fluffy looking, nice and fuzzy looking. Let's start putting this guy together. So we take our head. Everything should be nice and dry. My needle. So thread your head string. Take your second size and make sure the string is at the back. So you're going to go through this side out to the other side where your other string is from this guy. And pull. And then you're going to tie these. Oh, I just dropped my needle. And the tightest of knots. And you're going to do that like 2 or 3 knots, not just one. Don't worry about the different colors back here. No one's going to see it. So that's about 3 knots. I gotta pick my needle up. Alright. So now, let's thread these two. Just secures it better now that I've got 2. Go through your next size. So make sure this string is at the back. Go through the front. The smaller these get, the harder they are to get through. So, pull that right up and tie some triple knots. Or double knots, or whatever you're happy with. I can't seem to tie any knots. Sorry, I'm going to have to be really close to the camera. Sometimes my table surface is just too slippery. So that is 3. Now we don't need to keep carrying these 3, so I'm going to weave this pink in to the pink. I'm just going to continue to carry these 2. as we don't need all this, so weave this in so nobody really sees it. And I go a couple of directions, weaving. Oops. Let's pop out over here. So don't pull tight. Snip that off. Next size. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. Next size is this size. So again, the tail needs to be here. You're going to go into the front. Try to come across where this is going to get tied in the middle. It's hard to see because my needle is the same size as, or same color as the yarn pretty much. But when you tie your knot, you want to make sure that your knot is going to be in the middle of the ball. So I'm going to hide my rusty color. It also gets harder to weave as things get so tight. And now your smallest butt part, other than the pom-pom. So that's your thing, you gotta go through the front. Oh, that was way easier than my last one. You can make this as tight or as loose as you want. I tie mine tight and it's still, you can still wiggle these parts around, so kids can still enjoy it. So there's your caterpillar so far. We just got to put on his little powder puff tail. So now you're probably wondering how that goes on. Our pom-pom on one side. We're going to go up into there, and this side. So it's gonna go, it's hard to show you with this thing, I should have cut that off. We'll do that after. So this is gonna go not in the same spot as my last one, it's gonna go into a different spot, but it's gonna come up the same hole. So in the same hole as my last one. So you're going to tie it here in a double knot. You're going to cut off, leaving some nubbies, and then you're going to poke this down into the stuffing as best you can. Just like that. And then these little guys, you can just cut them off and go in and weave them through. Snip it off, and there we go. Our little caterpillar. I got my two guys. His head's bigger than his head. It's just the yarn I used. I like his nose indented, or his nose isn't indented, but yours probably come out looking different too. I like these antennae before I like these antennae. But just remember, if you have small children, because of the pokey, I would wrap some black electrical tape around there just to keep them safe. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.